What is up, everybody? Another wonderful Monday night at Chewin the BBQ Fat. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for all you do. Man, barbecue is in full force. It's all over the place. I love to see it. I love following up what's going on. There are contests in North Carolina and Alabama, Texas, all over the place. Great things happening everywhere. There, Mississippi, I think. Kith and Ken went somewhere. Maybe that was Tennessee. I don't know where it was, but they won somewhere. Pretty awesome. It was a great weekend for barbecue. And I'm telling you what, we are kicking off the barbecue season. I hope you're getting ready. I hope you've been practicing. I hope you're buying new stuff, getting ready for this season. Atlanta Barbecue Store has what you need, and you can come on here and get your stuff. But man, I'm telling you, we got a lot of contests that are happening. A lot of contests that people want to be pushed. They want to push their stuff. They want to see what's going on. They need you out there cooking. We do. We have a contest coming up in November, Atlanta Barbecue Store Classic. Come on out, join it. You can sign up now. But anyway, like the page, share the page, and get it on out there so we can get as many people watching as possible tonight. We do have some incredible guests on tonight. This is like a preview of the greatest barbecue show ever coming on. It's tomorrow night, not tonight. But we got a lot of that happening tonight. It's going to be a great time. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. But before we get into this, I've always said if you want to promote your contest, I am here to promote your contest. We want everybody to have a full contest. We want everybody to have successful events. Organizers to feel free to come on and talk. So we've got somebody coming on tonight, and I'm very excited about it. Emmeline, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good. Thank you for having me tonight.
Oh, no problem. No problem at all. I know I was going to have you on the other night, but the show got messed up and we didn't have it on. But here we are tonight. I'm looking forward to it. Tell everybody a little bit about your contest.
Well, my contest is in Marietta, Ohio. It's at the Washington Fairgrounds. Actually, my competition is next weekend, April 26th and 27th. Currently, I have 12 teams signed up. So if you're interested, you can let me know by Friday or Monday. I have Friday night, the 1 meat chicken. Saturday, I have the 4 meats plus the turkey smoke. Turkey smoke is actually sponsored by the Ohio Poultry Association in Columbus, Ohio. So everything is same. Even though it's not sponsored by KCBS, you will still get KCBS Team of the Year points for participating in turkey smoke.
Oh, there you go.
So, and my payout for this competition, it's $5,200 for the main, the 1 meat chicken, $450, turkey smoke, $1,000. The regular one and the turkey smoke is payout from 1 to 5th, and then grand champion and reserve champion. The chicken, the first 3 places. At the fairgrounds, we've been through 2 floods already. I just drove by the fairgrounds. The water has receded. Everything looks good. So I will be double checking the utilities and everything next week. I usually do that before the competition to make sure everything's okay. And if I need something, I just go yell and screaming and someone will come.
So that's what's great about having contests at fairgrounds. They normally have power. They have water. They're normally run by the counties or cities. So they have people on site. They can come and fix it. So what kind of power do you have?
I have 30 and 50 amps. Perfect. I have showers and restrooms.
There you go.
Water is everything is all the utility, even the gray matter dump, you call it, is right there and all the poles. Perfect. So everything is right there. Like you said, it's a perfect place to have a competition.
I love that. How can people sign up if they're looking to sign up? How can they get signed up?
I have my website. I can post it here shortly.
Okay.
If you need to get a hold of me, I am on Facebook for Marietta River City Barbecue. Also, my email is mariettabarbecue@gmail.com. So I might not be able to make it to the Jack qualifier. It's if I do make it, it's a three-way lottery draw. But if I don't, I still love to have it. You guys are welcome to come out, even like test out your new techniques, recipes, or whatever. I do have certified judges who took the J Cup. A good bit of them has been accepted, and they're ready for anybody who wants to compete.
I love it.
Also, if you want to do a turkey smoke, just only a turkey smoke, please let me know. It's a little bit different. With the fairgrounds and everything, I'm able to pay for some of the utilities and stuff for you. So basically, you just come in for free. You just have to get your own turkey meat, and then enjoy it for Saturday.
So hey, look, it doesn't have to be a qualifier. Y'all just come, cook, have a good time. It's all about, competition barbecue. Yeah, it's about the competition and winning and everything. It's also about hanging out, having a good time with each and everybody, and spreading the word of barbecue out and get it out there. That's what's awesome to me. So don't worry about the qualifier. If it becomes a qualifier, great, whatever. But other than that, just keep doing what you're doing. Points, people still get points and everything else. So roll with it. I think you're doing an awesome job. I can't wait to see how it goes. Please, when you get off, if you will put on in the comments, the website or however people can hook up. Carrie, this is in Marietta, Ohio, right?
Yes.
Right? Yes. Marietta, Ohio.
Not Georgia.
No, not Georgia. Not where we are. Not down here. It's probably easier to get to Marietta, Ohio than it is to get to Georgia. But other than that, it's awesome. Love it. Well, good. So if you want to get in touch with her, she's already given you, put all your information out there for us so we can get going. There you go. Thank you, Nicole. There it is. It's going to be a great time. Go out there, get you a win, get you some points, have a good time, meet each other, have a potluck, have a good time, and have a great time.
Oh yeah, I'm still looking into potluck. We're definitely doing breakfast, and I think a group of us will be cooking breakfast for everybody. As I said, potluck, we're not sure yet. Depending on how many people is interested, we might be cooking too. So
awesome. Have a great time with it. I love it. I can't wait to get back out there and cook barbecue again. But thank you so much for coming on, pushing it. If there's anything else we can do for you, you let me know, and I'm looking forward to hearing the results of your contest.
Thank you. Thank you much for having me tonight.
No problem. Thank you. Have a wonderful night, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. You too.
I love it. I love seeing contests come up. It's great. She's still doing it. I love the enthusiasm. She's excited about it. Y'all go support her. Go out there and make sure you sign up. Have a good time. Go get you some points. Go get you some, get some money, whatever. Go have a good time. Cook the turkey smoke. It'll be awesome. But now I'm going to get on to the show. I have got the best host ever to come on and help me tonight. He's a dear friend of mine, a great guy, one of our teams, love him to death. I don't know if his bride's going to come on or not, but we got Paul. How are you doing?
Hey, Brian. I don't know. Am I filling in for Robert here? I did not bring an agenda. No agenda is for me, so hopefully he gave it to you.
Chewin the BBQ Fat. We are no agenda. We are out there just chewing the barbecue fat. Our goal is to get a little bit of information every night from one of our guests.
Free flow.
Yeah, that's what we do. And that, I know you love that too, Paul. We've always had fun shows. And you know the question to ask these guys. You got to ask them without me getting in trouble. So I think it's going to be awesome. I did get a little fired up last week. If y'all want, look. Yeah, the producer for tomorrow night's on. Are y'all after a big? Yeah, that's why we got him on here, Wes.
Is that the real producer or the backup producer? Right?
I can't ever tell. I think he might be the backup producer.
I tell you what, I'm excited about these guests tonight. And if you don't have, it's mandatory for a cup to be in your hand with these two guys on tonight for everybody watching as well. I'll put my Venmo out there for the shots, for the price tag for the shots. I'll put my Venmo out there. You can send it to me.
Okay. So is that what I got to do? I got a Venmo set up, put a QR code up, and then.
Yeah, these guys don't need it, man. They're winning money every weekend. They don't need it.
Not only are they winning money, they're winning sweets, They're winning RVs. I mean, the guys just win. I mean, who knows?
I know that's a thing. Like I've never even seen that. I mean, Texas, everything's bigger, right? I mean,
Everything's different in Texas.
Boy.
I mean, it's amazing. So let's just go ahead and bring them on. What do you think?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Let's just go ahead and get them on here. Bill, how you doing?
Pretty
Phil,
good.
How you doing? And I just got to go ahead and work. Look at this, Paul. I mean, these two guys, I mean, they're like, their stage is set. They've got the boom mics. They've got everything
That's
set up.
royalty right there. I mean, that's royalty in Texas right there.
I mean, this is amazing. Welcome, guys, to the Dollar Store Barbecue. Chewin the BBQ Fat. Y'all been a long time. Y'all been on the show plenty of times. I love it. And I love what y'all are doing. Shiggin Fried with Chicken Fried. Great show.
Well, I can tell, Brian, I can tell real quick. Phil's golden mic there outclassed you right there in the backstage. You were done even in the backstage.
I was way done.
Oh yeah, you're done.
I mean, I'm just
Outclassed automatically.
automatically outclassed. I love it. I love it. But you know what? These guys are awesome. Y'all have supported me for a long time, and I do appreciate it. Love what y'all are doing. Bill, real quick before we get into it, I do want to plug Shiggin Fried. So go ahead and talk about what you got going on, man.
Well, so man, as you know, I sell products, right? So I have 2 products, and man, that's what I do full time. So I also sell. Yep, you sell them, you carry them. But you know, I also sell. I have online classes at Barbecue Champs, and man, all I do all week long is talk to people about barbecue. Hang on, I got a chopper flying over. Apparently there's a chopper, but all week long, man, all I do is talk barbecue to people. You know, my phone rings, and man, every day I'm in conversations about barbecue. So I just thought, man, why don't I just slice out an hour of every week and put it on YouTube? My YouTube channel, I did a bunch of videos early on, and man, I did a couple of more, and my YouTube channel got monetized, and it was right about the time that I actually started. And, you know, with the monetization, man, people can donate. Like you're saying, you see people donating for Phil. I say us to have a drink, but I don't drink, mainly Phil and the guest. But man, he's probably going to drink anyway. I think somebody else said, man, can we pay him to drink water? I said, man, I don't think you got enough money to pay him to drink water, you know? Oh, he's on the water tonight. Uh-oh. So
I can't drink Monday and Tuesday. You're gonna kill me. Fuck.
But you know, I mean, all I do is talk barbecue.
Into this. You got a liver monitor tied into this mic.
It's got
and I'm sure you guys, I'm sure Paul is the same. I'm sure you have conversations throughout the week with your network of guys that, man, you talk to. You know, all of us, we get consumed with this stuff. And I think some of the people that are watching the show and watching this show, you know, this barbecue life kind of can consume you. And man, I thought, why not just put it out there? And man, I asked Phil and Chris Schaefer's the one that actually came up with the name. I told him what I was thinking about doing. Oh, you should call it Shiggin Fried with Chicken Fried. I said, man, I love that. We're going to do it. And man, I talked to Phil, and Phil's like, man, I'm down to co-host. And Chris has got his restaurant. He said he's down to co-host, and Wes is like, man, I'm down to help out with whatever. And I said, well, we'll put you as a producer. And, you know, I think Rob Arocha, he's got the So Smoking Gooder show. So he's got a producer as well. So we thought, man, it's just having fun. It's just having fun, man. You need a producer. You need a producer.
You know? Everybody needs a water boy.
I mean,
everybody, you know, needs someone to monitor the comments, you know, but
it is what makes.
But we're just having fun, and much like you, Brian, we're unscripted. We don't have an agenda, man. We just get on and kind of talk about our weekend, and man, we just invite people on that we like and we know so far, you know, that man, we don't really necessarily have you don't have to win a GC, but equally so, man, we want people on that, you know, can probably point some people in the right direction. And we're doing a little after show, and that gets a little bit, you know, we close down the live feed after about an hour. And then usually the guest, whoever it is, stays on for the after show, which, you know, StreamYards will let you bring in like 10 people. So we'll all sit there and bullshit in the after show. And man, there's new cooks that get in there and ask questions, and people are more, you know, in the after show, people are more apt to actually shoot, you know, some of these newer cooks straight. So man, it's been a lot of fun. So
Man, I love it. I mean, if anybody's ever been on the show, you know that the after show is the best part of any day. You learn more about barbecue on the after shows than you do anything.
Yeah, and those we don't televise or don't put them on there. So,
no, that's when all the good information comes out.
Yeah, I mean, Smitty gave his whole recipe out. So did Aaron.
Paul?
Hmm?
Paul, have you been on the show yet?
Oh no. I'm not high enough class for Texas.
Yeah.
No.
I was just curious. I was just curious if you made that show yet. I mean, you got to be big time.
Oh yeah. That's no joke. That's no joke on that, really. Other than Wes, I don't know how Wes got on there, but
I don't either. I mean, everybody's trying to figure out how Wes Garrett got on there, but he does a great job. He does a great job trying to steal a little bit of time on the show. He does a great job. I mean, you got to love that about Wes. But anyway, speaking of having a good weekend, and I know y'all are going to talk about it tomorrow night on your show, but it was too big of a weekend that y'all had, too big of news in the barbecue world for me to not have y'all on to come talk about what happened. So Paul, Paul was coming on tonight anyway. I'm like, Paul, what you go out? He goes, let's get those guys on and talk about this Texas contest where they won RVs. I was like, what the heck? Let's do it. So Paul, take it away, my man.
Well, not only that, I mean, if you don't know, so these guys granted and reserve granted a pretty big contest there at the AT&T Stadium, and it's probably, now that I think about it, it's probably the biggest thing that's ever been won there at that stadium. But that's just cool in its own self. I've been lucky enough to have it happen with me and some of my friends. Anytime you grand one or reserve grand with your barbecue guys, man, it's a cool experience. It doesn't happen often enough, and it's one you don't forget. And this one was just a really cool trophies and all kind of stuff. But if I remember, guys, this is a IBCA, right?
No, this was a CBA.
CBA. Okay, so it's being judged a bit closer to KCBS then instead of the IBCA. Yeah. So what are you doing? All 4 meets in the CBA?
I'll let Phil speak a little bit.
Depending on the contest, CBA has the option of pork, and man, I don't know what the percentage is. Probably 80% of the contests have the pork, and man, the past couple of months, it's been about every other weekend they didn't have pork. So this weekend was a 3-meter, just the chicken ribs and brisket. So it just depends on the contest. It's up to the promoter. In Texas traditionally has been a 3-meat contest, and CBA originally was a 4-meat, but man, I think 2 years ago, Bill, they voted to have pork as optional or whatever. And man, all of last year there were very few contests that didn't have pork. So pork is optional to the promoter.
Yeah. And a lot of times we see first-year events that come on to CBA. They maybe leave it in another sanctioned body. They do the 3 meets, and then, man, usually the next year they step it up and do the 4 meets. So we've seen that. So, but I don't know. Schaefer did say, and Schaefer's not lying. He's in the comments. We did talk about maybe you coming on the show next week because, man, we didn't have a guest. I didn't have a guest this week, and man, me and Phil won it. So we're kind of going to do something a little special. Man, I didn't know how this weekend was going to unfold, but man, you were an option. You and Chris both were an option.
It worked, Brian. You guilted him. It worked. Good job, man. Guilted him right into it, man. I knew it'd work. I knew the plan would work.
We had
execute to perfection. So
couldn't have planned it better.
That's right. So tell us a little bit about your cook there. I mean, I know you guys always have some interesting things happen to you during your cook. Did it go smooth, or did you have a few road bumps there?
Man, I didn't like my cook. I think I told Phil afterwards, man, I didn't like the texture of my ribs, and I didn't like the flavor of my brisket. So, man, after, before awards, I'd already told Phil, man, I think I'm going to go home because, man, I didn't have the best to cook. My chicken was I felt like it was normal, and I didn't even taste chicken. Stacy, Bighorn Cookers next to me, he tasted my chicken. He thought it was excellent, but man, I didn't even taste it. So, but I did taste my ribs, and man, I wasn't real thrilled with them, and same with my brisket. But man, lo and behold, chicken and brisket got in there for me, so it was enough. So
you ever get like that where you cook the same stuff, week in, week out kind of thing, and you're just like, it's just it does, to me, it doesn't taste all that good, but somebody next to me tries it. I'm like, man, that's killer good. And I'm like, really? It just kind of tastes
happens
blah.
all the time. Man, I want to spit it
it's
out.
very
Yeah, it's horrible. So
Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. People ask you all the time, how's your cook? How's your cook? I don't know, man. I turned it all in. I thought I hit what I needed to hit, but it's just the same old stuff. I turn in all the time.
I can tell you right now, my standard answer about how was your cook is, I'll tell you after awards.
Yeah.
Every.
Yep.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna judge.
Yeah, we'll find out how the judges like it, and they get the judge of that, not me. I mean, most of the time out there, it goes how you want it to. Man, I've had some interesting chicken cooks the past couple of months, kind of converting on the Old Smoky gig, so that's made for good stories, but not as good results. But yeah, this week, there was no fun stories to listen to. It was just cook, turn it in. I had a good cook, and thankfully good results. So
I'm just going to. You said you're cooking your chicken a different way now. Is that what you're trying to do?
no, I'm not cooking it a different. I'm kind of different, but yeah, I'm cooking on an Old Smoky, and man, I know y'all know what Old Smokies are.
I don't.
No. Yeah, I think they're out of Houston, so maybe I don't know if they're nationwide or whatnot, but it's just they're relatively inexpensive. It's a sheet cooker, you can get for like $80 for a 22-inch or 26-inch cooker, and man, it's just fun to cook on, doing charcoal, and just, man, like Paul said, man, we kind of get bored of this stuff at times, and I get bored, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna try something different, work on mastering this, and that's just kind of where I'm at right now on that gig. So it's been interesting, more interesting than I thought.
What kind of chicken did y'all cook? Y'all cooking half chickens, or do you change it up?
Yeah, so in CBA you can cook half chicken. The only thing you can't turn in is pulled chicken or chopped breast meat. So you can do halves, you can do thighs, you can do wings, you can do leg. Man, I do half chicken and wings is what I do. So pretty much week in and week out. It's been the best results that I've got out of chicken. So Bill does, man, he changes week to week, but normally thighs, right, Bill? Yeah, it depends.
Yeah. And I was practicing for the rodeos because we have the rodeo season. So I'd kind of converted over to half chicken from thighs and wings, but my preference is thighs and wings. But like I said, I did want to get a couple of cooks in, and man, obviously I had some good results. So I tried to ride that wave for a little bit, but man, that wave right after rodeos were over, it dropped. So I went right back to thighs. So
now, Paul, you're a leg guy, right?
Yeah. I've been cooking legs for a long time. Yeah.
Does anybody cook legs in CBA?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There are guys that do legs, thighs. There's some people doing breast. I mean, there's a variety. It's people are obviously trying to figure out what scores the best for them. And man, everybody's a little different. But for me, my most consistent scores are with thighs. So.
And what about you, Phil?
Yeah, like I said, man, pretty much all of last year I turned a half chicken and wings almost every single box. So, man, it treats me right. Man, I don't win a lot of first place chicken, but man, I kind of live in that whatever 5th to 10th area, and man, I'm not getting knocked out of contests for it most of the time. To me, that's kind of my approach is, man, I'm not there to win categories. I'm there to win contests.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that mindset. I'm going to come back to you in a second on that one.
You're not doing those boneless legs? You're not doing those boneless legs?
Not me.
No, I'm not doing boneless legs. Now, our buddy Kit Polk did some boneless legs a couple contests ago, but he didn't do it on purpose.
I know. They got to watch the show to get that little tip.
Gotta watch the show to get that tip. Go back. What episode is that, Bill?
Man, he's all over the place, but man, there are people doing boneless wings. People are doing wing boxes. I mean, there's a variety, and like I said, I mean, it's still in its infancy, if you will. So it's I think that rule changed just last year.
I guess you don't have the same judges at every contest for most part, right? Because your judges are off the street or public, so there's really it's not going to hurt you if you're the judges aren't looking for something specific like they are. I would say they are in KCBS, right?
Yeah, the only thing I'll comment on that, Brian, is depending on the contest, like Bill said, CBA has been around, what is this, 3 or 4 years, Bill? Something like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Man, IBCA kind of, was the main sanctioning body, the largest one in Texas for a long time. And Lone Star's out there too. And man, they're all half chickens. So if you had a contest that's been going on for 10 or 15 years, it's been IBCA every year. Man, they do have a lot of judges that'll come back and judge that event every year, per se. Not all of them, but some of them. So there is some familiarity there of them seeing a half chicken. Then all of a sudden they see a thigh box and go, wait, what's this? Right? So we just can't guess that. We don't know what contests, man, they have the same judges at, invite the same, so we can't really cook to that approach. And it seems like as CBA has been here longer, 3-4 years now, and as time goes on, I imagine the boxes will just continue to get more creative as judges are, never know what you're going to get. And cooks get more confident in cooking something other than a half chicken. But, a lot of just half chickens are turned in. Probably 40 or 50% of the boxes are just a half chicken. I'm just guessing on that, but from what I hear.
Yeah. Like as Phil says, it varies for, there's some promoters that, may have 2 or 3 contests a year. Some of these VFW halls, and man, they've got a judging email list that they've manufactured on their own. So they do have a lot of regular judges when it's a contest that puts on 2 or 3 events a year, and they've been doing it for 6 or 7 years. So, but man, every contest is different, and you don't necessarily know the inner workings or how, again, because it's not CBA's responsibility. We don't keep up with any judges. It's on the promoter to provide the judges. We don't, Funtown RV or the promoter there, man, granted, they had plenty of people there visiting the RV show. And man, I think there were people buying RVs and asking if they could judge. And they were getting people into the judging room because they were either going to buy an RV or on the verge of buying an RV. So, man, they enjoyed it. So it was great for them to have us there. So.
What did you, as the calls were coming about, did you have a feeling it was going to be between one of you two at the end there?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. There was, we both had 2 walks, I didn't really think that, man, I was in it. And then I got a third chicken. So I was like, okay, well, man.
And I didn't get it. So it was a progression of as the categories went, man, about 5th place rib. I looked over at Carmen and said, man, get ready. We're going to load the shit. We're out of here, And then I hit 3rd rib. So, man, hang tight. We're back in the game. Let's see what happens,
And we're sitting next to each other. And, man, Phil gets called for 9th brisket. And he's like, shit, that's early, And yeah, it is. Go get it. So he goes up there, and then they call me for 8th brisket. And, we're sitting there, and no one's got 3 calls. And, man, I come back from, I see him in passing, and I come back, and I'm like, man, fuck, we got 2 calls in this thing. There's 70 teams here, and man, nobody's got 3 yet. Let's 1-2 it, And he's like, man, I don't care which one, man, let's both 1-2 it. And man, we're sitting there praying for guys that don't have calls to get brisket calls. And for the most part, that happened. There was a couple there, but no one had 3 calls. So there was a couple of 4 or 5 teams with 2 calls, and they started calling their numbers early on the top 10. Like, man, that guy's gone. That one's gone. So I think when we get down to like 3rd place or something, and man, there's only 3 of us left with 2 calls, and 3rd place overall, they called a guy that had 1 call. So, there's 3 of us with 2 calls, and man, 3rd place overall went to a 1 call guy. Man, somebody's not making the top 10.
And they'll look at each other and go, man, somebody's going to be left out,
Yeah, I get the feelings hurt.
And they were all 3. It was Stacy, our buddy Stacy, Bighorn Cookers had 2 walks, and man, he had, what was that? Like a 3rd brisket, and I don't know,
like a 9th chicken or something. 9th chicken. I think it was a 9th chicken, maybe. But he's a good rib cook too, so he didn't miss a rib. Yeah. So
yeah. So man, we didn't know how it would unfold, and then like we said, when the 3rd place was a 1 call guy, we're like, ooh. So man, they went straight into reserve, and the
and it felt like I won it, just getting the reserve.
Honestly, man, I was kind of hoping for that reserve because I was sure, I didn't want to be the one left out. And I'm like, crap. I
was like, thank God I got it, man. I didn't get left out for sure.
Yeah. So
I couldn't get
man,
up
it
there
was great
fast
to
enough.
see
I don't
Bill-
think, you know.
Do what?
I said I couldn't when they called me for reserve. It's like thank God because one of us three was going to get left out, and
I
unfortunately
mean,
it
and
was
me and Bill haven't
Stacy.
even talked about that specific moment. But for you, Bill, was that like, man, obviously happy, right? What was your thought when you heard?
Oh
Bat
man,
Rap
I
down
was like, man, I felt like I'd won the thing. You know what I mean? Just calling me like you're
Yeah.
saying. You don't want to be the third wheel that gets left out with 2 calls. So I was like, man, thank God. Man, I'll take the Cowboy suite for 10 people. And either prize was
Now,
good.
just hold on.
Cowboy
Just
suite.
let's hold on a second. You just said you got a Cowboy suite for 10 people. That's what the reserve won. For those of you that don't know,
Yeah.
what happened in this contest, this is extremely original in their awards, right? Like, I mean, this is wild.
Yeah.
This is pretty incredible. So
Man, I've never won a suite to a football game. So man, I'm not even a real Cowboys fan, but I am now. So I'm becoming one.
and then
Bill shot up there, man.
I shot up quick,
he
man.
shot
I
up
was up quick.
And then I was like, man, I had the fear of being left out all of a sudden because Bill wasn't sitting there anymore. And man, Stacy's right in front of me, and then everybody, the walls started closing in because you see the people like, no, it's gonna be one or the other. We're right each other, and I'm like, shit, So it was a little nerve wracking, whatever that was. 60 seconds felt like 15 minutes, and when they call green, it's got the music, so I hear the first note and immediately know. I'm like, whew. I don't think I was relieved more than anything. I just felt a lot of pressure all of a sudden to be at the top of it. So,
because they play your song, and man, you hear that first note of your song, man. It's like, oh, that's me. Shit, you know your song, and of course everybody knows your songs. And man, I had actually walked back because I'd went up there and I'd taken pictures with the promoter and all the rest of it, with the belt buckle and the banner and all the stuff. And then I come walking back, and as I'm walking back, they start to, they're building up, they're playing music, and the grand, I got a drum roll, and the grand champion is, and man, you hear that first note of Phil's song, and man, he just leans back and just starts laughing and smiling, like, oh fuck, I just got it. So man, everybody converged on him. It was pretty cool. So
and what did you win?
It was way cool. What's that?
And what did you win?
Oh yeah. Man, so I won pretty decent amount of cash in itself just at the contest, and then man, GC wins an RV at this contest, so I won an RV.
RV. He won an RV.
Yeah, an RV. Yeah, which is man pretty cool. Like Bill said, man, I've never won sweet tickets I've never won an RV at a contest, and now I have. So and I imagine it's going to be pretty easy to answer the question like, man, what's your coolest trophy? It's in the garage, I'll go out there and check it out.
It's a trophy room.
Come look at this thing. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I had to get a storage unit for it. It's amazing. That's awesome.
That's almost as good as smoking in the Rio, almost.
Man, coincidentally enough, these are my favorite 2 contests. Smoking on the Rio.
But I think Phil put it on his. I think Phil put it on his post too. Outside of winning, just being there, that stadium is just so. It's like a huge spaceship, man. I mean, I'd never been to it, and having it as the backdrop, and man, they had us on this little grass field. It was like a putting green. Man, I doubt we'll ever be back on that putting green again. But it was the grass was like
golf course grass.
Yeah. But it was
the
just,
grass
man,
was really nice.
It was pretty amazing just looking at the, being right next to the stadium. So it was,
and we had great weather all week. So the stars kind of aligned, and then great results and everything. So yeah, it was winning aside. It was a really cool contest. And then, icing on the cake to win to it, So
that's very awesome.
Pretty cool.
That's awesome. So what is the story with the smoke on the Rio?
Hey, let's talk about it. So yeah.
I apologize. I don't know what I'm walking into, Paul. If I'm walking into something, just go ahead and shut it down.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. You're doing just fine.
Man,
Phil doesn't quite remember the whole story.
it's obviously apparent that Brian Jarvis has not watched episode 4.
Oh, okay. I watched the first like 15, 20 minutes of that one. I got
You
that.
need to watch episode 4. Phil's not going to watch it for a year. Phil doesn't remember any of it. But
I will not watch that episode until our 1 year
I got that
anniversary of the show.
You might want to wear your earphones when you watch that one. You might not want some kids around watching.
Man, I had
that.
a buddy the next day. They're all calling me and telling me all the shit I said, and I'm like, I said that. They're like, that's pretty good. I was impressed, to be just blackout, wasted. I was still at my wits.
It was a great show. It was a great show. From my side, it was great. I loved every bit of it.
The only one, man, everybody loved it except my mom. She did not like the show. And she invited all her sisters, the aunts and uncle. Y'all got to watch the show. It's going to be great. Phil just won this big contest. Watch the show. Be on there. And she invited all the people from work, all her coworkers. You got to watch the show. And man, they kept a tally. They said I dropped the F-bomb like 176 times.
YouTube sent me an email, so.
This is the last warning.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh man, that's
Yeah,
nice.
Channel's been flagged.
Yeah, that's a contest we had down in Texas back in, I think, February. And man, it was a big one, world championship, 192 teams. And I won that contest. So that's
no big deal.
So we circled back.
No big deal.
No big deal. Exactly.
Circling back to that. That is incredible. That is awesome. All right, Paul, our goal here tonight is to get some information out of these guys about what it takes to win contests.
Well, I bet you can get some information if you take one of their classes. You guys got any classes coming up?
We both do. I've got one this weekend. Me and Fred are doing 2 meets each. That's this weekend. And mine is on Barbecue Champs as well. But me and Fred have an in-person class this weekend in Pleasanton, Texas. And I think Phil's got one in a couple more weeks, huh?
Yeah, mine's May 4th and 5th here in Bandera, Texas. So, yeah.
Are you full? Both of you full? You got room or?
Man, we're sitting at like 18 right now. And, man, I think we wanted to get like 25. So Fred's doing a couple of raffles. I think he did one today. Just, selling off little spots and raffles. So I think like I said, this morning we were sitting at 18. So we got 19 with a raffle. I think he's going to do another one. So we may finish with 20, something like that, which is fine enough. So, yeah,
it's great. I mean, that's a good size class. We're going to cut ours off at 20. I think we got 14 or 15 right now. We had a couple people sign up the last couple of days, but yeah, so we got a few seats left.
Where can they sign up for these classes?
For mine, you can sign up directly on our website, www.lcbbqshop.com. There's 3 options there. You've got, and you can just put a deposit to hold your seat, or you can go ahead and pay for the seat. And then we do have a spouse option as well. So
awesome.
Yeah, mine's on my website as well, chickenfriedbbq.com. So, yeah.
That's awesome. What do you?
So what are you going to do? Are you thinking about putting any shirts out with a no big deal on it? I've been hitting Schaefer up on it, but I can't quite convince him to do it.
And he trademarked it. We can't do that. I mean, it's up to him.
Yeah, we'd have to get the clearance for no big deal from Schaefer, but we are going to put some Shiggin Fried shirts out for sure. So,
man, I don't know if you can sweet talk it into Schaefer. Maybe you can get like hashtag no big deal on the back, Bill. That'd be sweet.
That's what I told him. That's what he needs on the back. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Oh, you waiting on him? Market's hot right now. He's got to get on.
So real quick,
we're counting all the money that we're bringing in so far. So,
Paul, give me 5 minutes here. I'm going to turn this real quick to the Atlanta barbecue store. Both of y'all have products that we sell. Can you talk a little bit about, Bill? I'll let you start. Can you talk a little bit about your the products that you have on the market right now?
Yeah, so I've got Texas Rib Grind. It's a pepper forward rub. But equally so, man, lots of people, it sells all over. So I know there's KCBS teams using it, but man, it's heavily used in Texas just because it is a bit pepper forward. And then I have a chicken brine called Game Over. It's moving pretty good. And, hitting a first place chicken at Houston Rodeo and San Antonio Rodeo but I get messages all the time from KCBS cooks. Yeah. That they've done well with it. So, But yeah, just a chicken brine and but even like my rib grind, man, I use it on chicken. I mean, you can see it if you look at any of my Instagram. It's a light coat that I put it on chicken, and man, it goes on every one of my meats just because, man, as Phil knows, man, I get a lot of luck even outside of barbecue, whether it's parking spaces at restaurants. So man, I sprinkle a little bit on everything just because I give everything a courtesy sprinkle
before you fill it.
You got that, man. Me and Fred were at Memphis in May, and he was doing the brisket, and for Pinkertons, and man, he finished season. I'm like, man, you might want to just do a light coat of Texas rib grind just for some luck, and he goes, no, I think you're probably right. Give it to me. So, and sure enough, we tied for first place in the beef category. So man, it's got a little luck in it. So
that's awesome. And we've been carrying it. They sell great. So if if you haven't tried it, jump on board and get you some of that stuff. Phil, what about you? You got a line of products yourself. Can you tell a little bit about your products?
Yeah, for sure. So we've got 12 products out. Man, we launched our first product back in 2018, and in the past 6 years or so have continued to build upon the line. We're pretty well known for our injections. We've got 5 injections. We've got a foul play, our chicken injection. We've got 2 beef injections, Angry Bull and Play Bull. Man, you probably get the question as much as I do. What's the difference? Man, at the end of the day, 2 different flavor profiles. I do recommend Play Bull for like a select or a choice or something you really want to amplify a little bit more. And then Angry Bull is a little smoother and rounded out. So I kind of like those for Wagyus in general speaking. And they can go both ways, but that's the short answer on that. And then we've got 2 pork injections as well. We've got Boss Hog and we've got Butt Hurt. And, Boss Hog finishes a little on the sweeter side, and then Butt Hurt's more savory. So that's a difference in those 2. We've got phosphates. We've got barbecue phosphates. That's Rainmaker. We've got a chicken brine, Hen Drench. Man, it's also a great seasoning, and it's also a great finishing dust, and it's also a great beer salt. So, I mean, just ways I like to use it. I'm kind of partial to Hen Drench. I think it's delicious. And then we've also got 5 rubs. We've got our all-purpose rawhide. It's a base on all our meats. We've got certified and honey hole. Those are 2 geared towards pork primarily. Honey hole finishes sweet again. It's got those honey notes, and then certified is more on the savory side. And then Texas Hill Country Blend is our man, I call it everything barbecue. It's just a really well balanced rub, and it was. Man, I didn't really gear that towards competition, although a lot of people do. Man, it's just meant to, man, if you're going to the deer lease or whatever, and you just grab one shaker, you cook chicken, you use that. You cook ribs, you use that. Cook brisket, you use that. So, man, it really does complement a lot of meats. Just real balanced. And, yeah, I think I named them all. Man, we're working on, we've always got things in the works. It never ends. We've been working on sauce for going on 2 years now. So, and who knows when that'll be ready. I don't put time limits on the stuff that I do. They're just ready when they're ready. So we're just going to continue to try and build the line as complete as possible.
Yeah.
What do you think's your most popular one? So your most popular injection or brine, and your most popular rub?
Man, obviously foul play. I mean, we're known for foul play. The chicken injection is one of our better movers. Angry Bull. I'll say this, man. Of the 12 products, they all move really great. So there's not a lot of fall off to this or that. And it kind of depends on the regions too, and whoever that store is making the recommendations. Brian, I'm sure you get all the time. Man, y'all got 1,000 products. What I use. So, man, just making that list is going to help whoever's product that is. But yeah, rawhide, man, rawhide. Carmen cooks in the kitchen every meal. I mean, pretty much replaces salt and pepper. It's salt, pepper, garlic, onion. It's got MSG, so everything's popped, So, man, we cook with that a lot, even at the house. Those are some of our more popular ones. Yeah.
You mentioned about pork. You mentioned your 2 pork. One is a sweeter rub and one's a savior or injection. Do you ever combine the 2, or is that something? Do you just stick with one, or is that something that you thought about doing, suggest, or trying?
Yeah, sure, man. I do that quite often, kind of depending on, what's in my head that day, knowing what they'll do. Either combine them or, man, I call it leaning. I don't make big moves, but I'll lean in a different direction depending on how I thought something finished last week, or if I got a comment it was too sweet. And I got it too sweet last week, so I'll lean a little bit more on the butt hurt moving forward, and just, man, wherever my mind's at on that. The thought process. I mean, I get this a lot: is why do you have 2 pork injections? Why do you have 2 brisket injections? Man, as cooks, as competition cooks, we prove it time and time again. Nothing's ever enough. We always want the new kid, or we always want to be looking for the answer. And to me, man, obviously my injections aren't the only one on the market, so I don't think there's anything wrong with having choices within the same line, as long as they're good choices. So, man, that's the thought process. Man, I thought it was great. Man, I had good luck with both of them on in competition, and man, why not offer them as a product to everyone?
It seems to be, I mean, Paul, I know it seems to be a thing. I mean, pretty much when people buy stuff from us, they don't always just buy one, right? Like they're buying multiples of everything. And it's just interesting to see the thought process going in, number one, to how you use it, but number two, how you're developing them. What is it what are you thinking when you're developing these rubs and these injections? It's pretty awesome.
So, man, as I built the line, my goal was to build a full line with, just my products, right? And it took me a long time to do that. It wasn't something I did overnight. Man, I use all my own products. I use one other rub, and all the rest is mine. Which, man, there's tons of good products out there. Mine's the answer to the answer of all. There's a lot of good quality products out there that work. This was just what my goal was to do. So as I built it, whatever I felt like I had a void, or I didn't have what I wanted in a shaker, I would have a mindset of, this is what I want to develop. And, sometimes it just went straight to that. And sometimes, man, we had to take the long route to eventually get to wherever it's going. And, man, I'll vet these in competitions. Man, I feel like I've had a lot of good products that could have made it to the market, but I really just couldn't get them to hit consistently, in the competition circuit. And my mindset is, if I can't win with them, why should I expect you to win with them? Right. So, each product's a little different on how we go about developing, or where the thought process is for what we want to do. Yeah. I
love it. Paul, you got anything on that before we get back to your question?
No, I'm just kind of curious. We may be boring some people here, but curiosity is, how long do you think it'll take you to go from conception to putting it on the market? How long does it normally take you to do that?
Man, typically it's not under 6 months. It's very rare. I think last call, I developed that during COVID. That one went pretty fast for getting from point A to B, and a lot of things go along with it, and not just the label, right? And nutritionals and all that stuff. That's not really a big deal, but it's all got to be done. So it takes time. And then, man, you got to be able to market these products, right? I mean, to me, if it looks like something I did on a $100 printer and put a label on there on the kitchen countertop, man, that's going to limit the crowd, So to me, it's got to be marketable, to be a good, clean looking product, to be, marketed correctly for whatever that product's used for. And I'll say this, man, I'm probably one of the worst salesmen for my own stuff. I don't really talk about my stuff a lot. I do whenever I'm asked, I like to, but man, I kind of feel like people get tired of, man, use this, whatever. And people are going to use whatever they want. I'm just out there trying to blaze a trail, give them options.
That's awesome. Bill, do you have anything else coming to the market anytime soon?
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on a couple, but much like Phil, and I want to make sure that it works and I can do well, because, man, if I don't want to use it in a competition, man, I don't want to have 2,000 pounds sitting in my shop of it, and it's, like I said, expecting other people. So I'm playing around with different mixtures at the moment, and man, I thought I was pretty close, and my ribs sunk. So, but I did run a new rub on my chicken this week, and it got third. So, man, it didn't hurt the chicken. So we'll see, But again, man, I want to be 100%. And man, Rib Grind's been out for 2 years, and I've just released that Game Over. So I want to make sure, man, I probably ran Game Over for a good 8 months. And man, I think I finished second in chicken for CBA last year running it. So, man, I don't have I've got no regrets of dumping my chicken in that brine every week, So, man, that's exactly what you want to do. Like, I don't want to, and Phil's been a good coach to me as well on that, man, he's a great friend, and, hey, and don't release something that's, man, rib grind has done really well, man. You don't want the second one to flop. So, but I'm in no big hurry,
Yeah,
Awesome.
me and Bill talk a lot, and that's, I know I've told him before, kind of as I've built man, it was never like, man, I never set out to build a brand of barbecue products. It just kind of happened. But as I've gone through that the past 6 years, starting from not really knowing what I'm doing or anything about it, and I've always had the fear of releasing something and it kind of flopping, and that's why it kind of takes me a long time to do it. I really want to be certain. And like Bill said, man, we don't want to power that in our garage going, man, I don't want to use it. You know what I mean? So we're trying to build products that we believe in and that we use. And man, we're not trying to sell it. We're not out there, hey, yeah, it's the greatest thing. Man, this is what we're doing, right? And people know they're there. And we've both got real loyal followings. And man, I appreciate all the people that support the brand.
Yeah. I mean, we've been with you guys for a long time and appreciate y'all and looking forward to selling. That's one thing that we love to do is help y'all out and everything, because, it is what it is. It's a small community that we're in, but it's a big community at the same time.
And barbecue family.
Yeah, it's awesome. Paul, what are we going to do to get Phil or Bill, other than taking their class, to give us a little bit of a nugget tonight? We need that nugget out of.
I'm gonna go check the tires real quick. Hang on just a second.
I guess I'll take that one. Let me get a sip of water.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know. I think it's been really cool to see what's going on. Barbecue is awesome. It's been a lot of fun to see what's going on and how everybody's growing and seeing y'all's brands grow and shows happening and everything else.
It's good to see. I think IBCA is expanding a little bit. I see they're going to have one in Arkansas and then one up in Maine or something like that.
IBCA,
so
CBA?
IBCA's got one in Michigan. I have seen that. Now CBA's got one in South Carolina. Yeah, CBA's got one in South Carolina. I don't know when that one is. I think it's June. And then they've also got that one in Maine, which I think has traditionally been a KCBS contest, and they went CBA this year. And that one's I think July 5th and 6th. And I'm actually going to try to make that one depending on, it's going to be an auto to the jack and right there in July, right before, the cutoff or whatever. And just kind of depends on where I'm sitting on 4 now. So man, I'd like to get 7 before that contest because it's, the clock's ticking.
I cannot believe Bill does that with his ribs. That's amazing that he does that, Phil. Thank you for telling us what he does on that.
Well, man, he said don't say nothing, and you said we weren't live. So I mean, man, I'm just do with it what you will. Man, I'll give you guys some tips. I don't know what tips you're looking for or whatever. I'm happy to answer questions, but some of the biggest tips are really not the ones that the people are looking for, right? Everybody's looking for a recipe, and man, they shouldn't be looking for a recipe. They should be, man, it's a mindset. Man, the 95% of what we do is mental, being prepared, going in with a game plan and executing. So, man, that's really kind of to me, man, that's what I'm looking for. If I'm going to talk to somebody and go, man, I don't really want your rib recipe, man, with no disrespect, right? Man, everybody's turning in really good barbecue these days. So, man, what puts one cook over another, or why does one guy win more than the others? And man, I don't know. I think it's those things. I think it's being prepared. I think it's the mental game of, man, how easy is it, Paul? I mean, for a lot of cooks, man, we don't have a good cook this week. Oh, what am I going to do next weekend? They're reinventing the wheel, because, man, they might have just hit a bad table and they had really good barbecue. I always say in my classes, the hardest thing in barbecue to do is to turn in really good turn-ins, not have the results you want, and turn in the same thing next week. We get inside our own head. I mean, I'm guilty of it. We all are, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We overanalyze way too much, but yeah, your biggest asset in competition barbecue is a short memory. It really is.
Yeah.
One of y'all said this at the beginning. I don't know which one of it was, but I think it was you, Phil. But going back to the mindset of winning, right? You said it was chicken, right? You're like, I don't care if I win chicken. I just don't want to lose. I'm there to win the contest, not win a category. What exactly does that mean? Because I'll never forget Adam Goutreau with Cajun Blaze. He said that a long time ago. I'm there to win contests, not win categories. So what does that mean? What does that mean to you?
Yeah. So, let's take chicken, for example. So, man, I don't know what I ended up team of the year chicken last year, probably 6th or 7th or somewhere in there. And it seemed like I told Bill at one point, man, I don't know how many 10th place chickens I hit this year, but it feels like a lot. And I was 8th, 9th, 10th. I kind of lived in that range. And, I've kind of gone the past few months on a mission to improve that. My mindset's always to have top 5 meets. Man, I want the meets to be in the top 5. If I'm consistently in the top 5, and I'm okay with 5th, 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 5th all the time. I feel like if you have too many first place, that, man, you could have that potential hero to zero going on to where first place, 27th. Shit. Man, we ain't going to win a whole lot of contests with 27th in a category, obviously depending on team count, right? But yeah, so I'm not really trying to win those categories. I just don't want any of my turn-ins to take me out of contention. You can't win a category with a first place chicken, but you can lose a contest with a really crappy score on chicken. I mean, take this weekend, for example, man, there were, I don't know, Bill, there was 5, 6 or 7. I think it was 6 or 7 teams that had 2 walks, right? With the almost 70 team contest. So it got interesting there at the end. And it all depended pretty much on that off meat. I think smoking and toasted, man, I had him leading, right? Bill, he had a first chicken and I think a 5th brisket. So, in my mind, I'm just going to assume everybody's off meat was good. Well, he kind of had the edge, maybe a little bit, but it all depended on what that off meat was. And man, I was fortunate enough. My off meat was good enough to win the contest. I had a 21st chicken. So, man, if you would have told me before the contest, before they announced the top 10 that I had 21st chicken, man, I wouldn't have thought I would have won the contest. I think I probably would have been 3rd or 4th in my brain. But, Stacy, man, his ribs, man, he must have had a bad table. So he liked them, and they didn't do well. I don't remember what they were, but they were down there. And Bill, your ribs, man, Bill's ribs have been on fire. He's walked in ribs the past 3 months, and they've been automatic. So Bill's sitting there without a rib call, and man, that's kind of teed up for him in my mind, right? So, smoking and toasting, they went like 9th. We were like, whoa, didn't see that coming. So, man, you just kind of don't know how that's going to fall. And, man, my approach is always not to have a meet not take me out of contention. If it's KCBS, right, man, you can't be under 170, right? I mean, you're pretty, you got to at least have 170. But I'm shooting for 175s, right?
Yeah.
And if I've got 4 175s, I've got a 700, and I've had a really good day. I may or may not win the contest, but I'm right there. And if you have a 173, well, man, you need something else to be a 178. So, man, I cook really good solid turn-ins, and I'm hoping 1 or 2 of them will get up there and jump a little bit higher than that 175, right? Mix in 2 180s with 2 175s. It's a really good day. So that's what I mean. Yeah. So that's what I mean by that approach. And I'm not trying to win, man, yeah, we all like to win categories. Winning categories is great, but man, it's never my goal going into a weekend.
Yeah, you see that. I mean, it is interesting to see that people get a lot of first place, and then all of a sudden they'll be middle to bottom of the pack. It's like, so at that point in time, is something must be offensive, right, about that turn in.
Yeah, it could be. It's some judges' favorite and it's some judges' least favorite, right?
Right.
I mean, it's like, man, I stay away from cinnamon. Man, well, there's people that love cinnamon. There's people that hate cinnamon.
Right.
So, man, that's another approach to my products. I want them to be well balanced. So, man, they're not offending somebody. Sometimes it ain't about winning; it's about not offending anybody.
Yep, that's true.
Well, and too, there's just a lot of different tongues that hit the table. I mean, you're only judged, just like KCBS, you're only judged by 6 people. I mean, my wife, if we get fries, she don't want ketchup on her fries. She hates ketchup. Man, I like ketchup, but man, there's a lot of different tongues, and man, I could run the same thing one week and it could get hammered, and the next week it could get 5th or 4th. And man, it just depends on what tongues sit at that table that day. And granted, you want to find something that's, man, ketchup's probably pleasing to most people that eat fries, so you might want to have a little ketchup in there. But there's going to be, man, if you get a table full of people that hate ketchup, man, you're screwed. So And
try to stay
that
away
happens
from-
to us too with my ribs. You know, I looked at my rib table, and man, no one on my rib table walked this last weekend. I think the highest score was like, and I think he was like 18th place rib who won our rib table. And I think I can't remember if I was third on the table or whatnot, but man, that table could, you know, we are in Texas. Some people hate barbecue sauce, and you get a couple of judges, it's their first time judging. They get in there and they just ding something that has sauce on it. You don't, you know, it doesn't mean that. Now, granted, I wasn't super pleased with my ribs. I didn't think they were 33rd, but man, it is what it is. And that same rib, for the most part, cooked a little better the week before it walked, you know. But I did think Alonzo with Gulf Coast Smoke, he had a first brisket and a fifth rib. But he was missing chicken. And man, I don't know where his chicken landed, but man, he ended up getting called for, I think, 4th overall.
Yeah, I think
with a
it's fourth overall.
first brisket and a fifth rib. So,
Yeah, so it was an interesting top 10 that I don't think anybody had pegged. I mean, it could have went a lot of different directions depending on the off meat. Man, if you got somebody that ain't walked in all of them, man, you don't know what's going to happen.
yeah.
Especially in Texas, man, a lot of our contests, I think I've cooked 8 contests so far this year that were over 100 teams. And man, 192, 250, 300. I mean, we've got some really large contests. So, man, it's not unheard of I mean, you can no walk a GC very easily.
Wow.
And I mean, I remember my first RGC in KCBS was in Waco, and Boomerang won it. And I had 4 calls and he had 3. And I RGC'd the contest with 4 calls. All mine were, you know, all my calls were between 5th and 10th. And he had a couple of really strong calls, but man, I think he had an 11th or a 12th that was pretty sandwiched in close to one of my 10ths. And man, he ended up GCing with 3 calls, and man, I RGC'd. It was my first, no, maybe my second RGC. But yeah, it was.
That's what I've always thought too. Is and my philosophy is you got to, you know, you're going to hit a table, maybe even 2 tables that aren't going to be popping those numbers out like those top tables. You got to power through those. I mean, you got to be able to survive those. That's where that balance comes in, that execution part that Phil's talking about. You know, that taste may not be what they wanted, but if you cooked it correctly, they give you those 9s and that tenderness there, and they'll boost you up a little bit to survive that table, and you shine on the next 2 kind of thing. But I think those are the teams that do better, the ones that they're going to hit some low tables. People kind of go, oh, they hit all the good tables. Well, that doesn't happen most times it does not happen. So every team's going to probably hit a low table. They're just the ones that won that table, and they may have got a 14th place, but they survived that table, and everybody else got 10 points lowered, so they were able to pull it out in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
in this contest, you're not going to
there's
have
no
those.
big silver bullet that's just a guaranteed recipe that's going to win, and it ain't out
No,
there.
there's not. And you know, when you have those 4 solid turn-ins, and man, you know, I think probably most people watching are KCBS, so man, they're all 173s. Man, you're probably 7th or 8th that day, you know, but you didn't have anything get a 178 or a 180. You didn't have one of those 4 jump out there and get a big score. You still had a solid day, man. Just your day. Man, we know we're not going to win every weekend. We prove it all the time. We're just trying to win more than most.
So is CBA?
I thought you were going to win this weekend, Paul. Man, I thought you and Chris were probably going to go 1-2. You know, that was my prediction.
I didn't get a chance to talk to Chris, but I mean, we had our issues getting there and got there kind of late. You know how KCBS is. If you get there after 12 o'clock, you know, people are wondering if you're even going to show up. And so we didn't get there until we didn't get there, I think, until about
talking about Thursday, right? You're talking about Thursday, right?
No. Well, yeah. No, that's West. That's West on Wednesday.
I heard he gets here on Monday.
Well, I thought, we just kind of got our mental game back and put out some decent food there on Saturday. But strangely enough, pork, which is normally our stronger category, they really didn't like it, and it was the one I couldn't make up. So I didn't have enough scores in there to make up for a low category, and ended up where I was. You know, I mean, it was really close. I don't know if you saw the scores on that thing. The top 3, I mean, it was less than a point between the top 3 there. So that was pretty close.
Wes says he's already in South Haven.
Saturday night.
You better be for that one. They closed the gates on that thing.
Oh man. Well, we're gonna get going. We're wrapping up here. Phil, where are you cooking next?
So I'm cooking in Pleasanton outside of San Antonio. this weekend. I'm cooking. It's a Friday, Saturday, and then me and Fred are doing our class Saturday and Sunday. So it's kind of like a double, but I'm only doing 2 meats, so it'll be easy enough.
Awesome. What about you, Phil?
I think, Phil, you're doing Taffer, aren't you, down in Hempstead area?
Yeah, I'm gonna do Taffer. You know, the CBA World Championship, they do this like raffle or whatever. You buy raffle tickets, and they get a lot of these cook-offs in Texas to do to donate an entry to their cook-off, right? And man, I told Fred this year, man, give me $200 worth of tickets. He wheeled off a couple arms of tickets, and I just started putting them. Man, there's 50 cook-offs, so I'm putting tickets in there. And man, I was fortunate enough to win 11 of those. So, man, I got a free entry to Tapper over there in Hempstead. So, man, we're gonna. I didn't win anything else at the contest, but I won some free entries. We're gonna go do the one in Hempstead this weekend.
And then when is your class? Your class is coming up again too, right?
Yeah, so it's May 4th and 5th. Yeah, we're about 3 weeks out, I think, something like that.
Perfect. Paul, what about you? When are you cooking again?
We are off this weekend. There's just nothing with less than 12 hours around me, so we're just going to take the weekend off, and we'll be in South Haven to clap for Drew Davis. South Haven.
That's the Drew Invitational, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is.
I've heard about that one.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome. Well, how can people get in touch with y'all?
Chewin Fried BBQ on every social media. I mean, it's Bill Purvis on Facebook. Pretty easy.
Phil, same thing. LC Barbecue.
Yeah, either Phil Breeden or LC Barbecue on all the social media, and then lcbbqshop.com for the website.
Perfect. What about you, Paul?
Just Rooters and Tutors Barbecue, Instagram, Facebook. Unless you want to put your cell phone number out there, they can text you and get a hold of me.
Yep. If anybody
And they find it anyway.
That is awesome. Well, guys, thank you.
They're looking,
much
they'll find you. I promise.
Yeah, they will.
It ain't too hard.
And look, guys, tomorrow night.
Man, thanks for having us on, guys. We really
Is it
enjoyed
9 o'clock?
No, thanks guys for coming on. This has been real fun.
No,
Yeah,
thanks, guys, for having us.
Y'all been awesome.
It has been. Thanks, guys.
Everybody watch Shiggin Fried with Chewin Fried Tuesday nights. What time?
8 o'clock on YouTube. 8 o'clock. Right.
8 o'clock on
8
YouTube.
Central. 8 Central. So
8
9
Central. Central, yes. Y'all have a wonderful week, and we will see you next week on Chewin the BBQ Fat. Have a good one, everybody.